In the autumn of 1888, a killer stalked the fog-drowned streets of London. He murdered at least 5 women and was never caught. The world remembers him by a single name: Jack the Ripper. More than a century later, we still do not know who he was, but the clues he left behind point to some very dark men. The killings happened in Whitechapel, the poorest corner of Victorian London. A maze of dark alleys, crammed lodging houses, and desperate souls. A bed for the night cost 4p, and for the women who could not even afford that. The streets were the only way to survive. Society gave them almost no other choice. Many turned to the streets simply to eat. It made them terribly vulnerable. On the 31st of August 1888, 2 workmen found the body of Ann Nichols on the cobblestones. At first, it looked like an ordinary tragedy. But when the coroner examined her, he found something far darker. 8 days later, a second woman, Chapman, was found in a tenement courtyard, killed in the same brutal way. The wounds were precise. Some doctors who examined the bodies believed the killer had medical knowledge. 2 women, 1 week apart, the same twisted hand. London realized a monster was loose. The newspapers seized the story. In a city of over 150 daily papers, all hungry for sales, the killer was a gift. These were the years of Sherlock Holmes. The public was starving for a mystery. Now they had a real one, written in blood. Then a letter arrived at a London news agency, written in red ink, addressed simply, "Dear Boss." The writer mocked the police, promised more killings, and signed it with a name that would echo through history. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. He even made a chilling promise that next time he would cut his victims' ears and send them to the police. Just days later, he struck twice in a single night. Elizabeth Stride, found in a darkened yard. The Ripper had been interrupted. His thirst unquenched, he hunted again. Within the hour, half a mile away, he found Catherine Eddowes, and when they examined her body, part of her ear had been cut away, exactly as the letter had foretold. Near the scene, a message was scrawled on a wall. "The doers are the men that will not be blamed for nothing." The strange spelling echoed 3 assassins from the legends of a secret society, the Freemasons. Before it could be photographed, the police chief, himself a Freemason, ordered the writing wiped away. Why? Then came the worst. On the 9th of November, a landlord peered into a rented room and recoiled in horror. Mary Jane Kelly, just 25. The only victim killed indoors. The only one the Ripper had time to truly destroy. It became one of the earliest crime scenes ever photographed. The city was in an uproar, and still no killer. And then the murders simply stopped. As suddenly as they had begun, Jack the Ripper vanished into the fog. So who was he? The suspects ranged from butchers and surgeons to a grandson of Queen Victoria herself. But one name rises above the rest. An American who called himself a doctor, Francis Tumblety. He was a fraud, a quack who sold fake cures, and a man who hated women, especially prostitutes, with a frightening passion. At his dinners, his party trick was to display jars of preserved organs, including human wombs. He arrived in London just before the killings began, and weeks after the final murder, he fled England under a false name, sailing home to America. Near the crime scenes, a landlady spoke of an American doctor and a blood-stained shirt left in the night. And when Tumblety died, among his possessions they found a plain brass ring, the same kind stolen from the finger of victim Annie Chapman. Was Francis Tumblety the man behind the knife? Or was the truth buried by powerful men, protecting one of their own? After more than 130 years, Jack the Ripper remains the most infamous killer history never caught. If you would like more dark, unsolved, true stories from history, subscribe and stay a while.